This might be good enough. For gathering, oh, could you hand me 2 pins, please, Jeremy? I'm going to gather this big edge onto this smaller edge. And the way I do that is to first sew a basting stitch on number 6, slightly in from the 5/8 inch line without back tacking. It's just a long running stitch that will be loose. Thank you. And then I want to pin it. Let's pin it to this shorter side. So I match the edges of both pieces. And then I start by pulling on the bobbin thread, which in this case is the darkest one. And I pull that up into little puckers without pulling it out the other end. In fact, I'm going to pull on the other end as well until the 2 pieces are about the same size. And then I take these both thread ends and make a figure 8 around the pin on both ends. And that will keep the thread secure so that I'm free to adjust these gathers. For gathering, you want them all equally spread out, and you want them all perpendicular to the seam line. So you can kind of control and arrange that if you're careful. And then you put it back to a normal stitch. Start with a back tack here. And at this point I have to take out the pins because we never sew over pins. But I'm going to use that pin to kind of arrange these gathers a little more. And then I'm sewing slightly to the left of them so that I don't ever see that gathering thread. And sometimes gathering wants to get really bunched up sideways like this and get caught in the stitching, and you don't want it to do that. You want to keep all of this out of your way and vertical or perpendicular to the seam line. When you get to the last one, you take it out and do a back tack. And the gathering should not show on this side. The stitches should not show, but you should see equal puckers, equal size, and equal space, roughly equal. And when you press this, you don't want to smash those gathers, but you can press this side. You can press the seam allowance and the other side and get a nice crease right here, but you don't want to smash the gathers with the iron. So that's all you have to do for gathering. The next sample is almost like it. It's putting a larger piece of fabric next to a smaller one. I'm going to make this one smaller by cutting off 1 inch of it. And now I want to make these 2, I want them to be sewed together fairly equally. So I start with the raw edges together and a good 5/8 inch away back tack. And I have the smaller one on top. I'm going to use these feed dogs to pull the bigger one in for me. So as I pull on this one, they will pull on the bottom one, and I just have to keep the edges together. And it should come out eased in. This is an eased seam. So I have more fabric in the bottom than I do in the top, but not enough to be puckers. I could press that all out smooth. Maybe we should. Press that on a ham, and all that slight puckering should disappear. This is one reason we have these curved tailor's hams, is so that we can press shape into something like this seam we just eased, because we wanted it to have more shape. And so we'll press it around the ham, and I am going to press any puckers that were there out and try and get them smooth. And so that shape is built in here now. It's more stretched out than this, and it will stay there. It's like for a sleeve that has to go over his shoulder, you need a bigger piece here and a smaller piece here. So that's what this would do. It would fit around a body part. And just to show you this gathering again, this is how we press the gathering. Right up to the seam line, but not over it. And then this will lay flat, like a little skirt waistband, the gathered piece.